Hey guys, good morning. Greetings, red and black fans. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. If you're just joining, please follow, like, and share on all platforms. On YouTube, subscribe below and enable notifications and hit the bell. Leave that awesome like on the video. We're here thanks to the Haroldo Caravan. You can secure your spot at Flamengo's games at Maracanã with a perfect hospitality and ticket included. Man, you can also travel to São Paulo for the game against Corinthians this weekend. There's a van, man. The whole schedule is set. You can get in touch with him. The phone number is in the description and in the pinned comment. Just message on WhatsApp and make arrangements. You'll be very well taken care of. Flamengo deserves it, right, man? This phase they're in, they deserve these trips. They deserve you following them, being close. It's a new phase that Flamengo is going through. So honestly, it's really worth it to be close to Mango. Always, I wish I could be there. I really do because I miss it. I miss it. I really miss Flamengo, okay? I really miss being close, being there, cheering, covering, interviewing. But that's it, man. Life is about choices. Soon Leo Pereira will show up here. He was called up. Soon he'll be around. So maybe we'll interview Leo Pereira, Alexandre, Danilo, right? And we have a lot of information to share with you, right? Remember, you can get Flamengo products on YouTube shopping. Diamantes Negros, Feruza, the Mangala jersey, long sleeve jersey, the pets, everything, you can get it. This jersey I'm wearing here is from Flamengo's training and travel collection. You can get the official Flamengo products online on YouTube shopping. You help the club a lot and you also help our page. So by buying official products, you're supporting the most beloved club in the world. Look, we have some important information to share about Felipe Luiz. Rodrigo Caio has broken his silence. Felipe Luiz also made a decision. He made up his mind about the possible move to Cruzeiro, okay? He doesn't intend to go. I thought he would because there wasn't much rivalry and because of the need to fulfill those years working in Brazil. Honestly, I thought Cruzeiro, since they don't have much rivalry with Flamengo and have a good relationship with Flamengo, I said that Felipe should take this opportunity, that he would probably end up signing with Cruzeiro, but no, okay? According to GE, Felipe Luiz doesn't intend to work in Brazil at this moment. The information was confirmed by the agent Jorge Mendes. According to the agent, the next step in his career will be in Europe. Felipe wants to travel to the continent soon to talk with his staff and evaluate projects. The coach has been without a club since March 3rd when he left Flamengo after the 8-0 win. That's right, guys, over Madureira. When we tell this story in about 20 years, he was fired after an 8-0 win. So it was for the Carioca semifinal. After he left, the club hired Leonardo Jardim for the position and Felipe started being mentioned. São Paulo tried to hire Felipe, but Felipe didn't want to. Now Cruzeiro is trying. The idea now is to wait for an opportunity in European football, right? And there's also the issue that he couldn't take over as head coach. So maybe the one who would have to sign would be Ivan Palanco, okay? We also have some information here to share with you regarding Rodrigo Caio, right? He gave an interview to Diego's channel, the podcast Desde Faixa. It's worth checking it out. He revealed that President Luiz Eduardo Batista, BAP, tried to convince him to stay on Flamengo's permanent staff. However, the former defender chose to leave the club out of respect for Felipe Luiz, open quotes. I arrived with Felipe. He called me along with Flamengo to accept the challenge and see if I could help. I had two important conversations, one with BAP and another with Felipe. From the beginning, I made it clear that the moment I wasn't delivering or wasn't at Flamengo's level, I wanted them to look me in the eye and tell me if I had to leave, I would leave in peace. I told Felipe, I'm doing this for you and also for Flamengo, which is a club I love. But from the moment you leave, I'll leave with you. That was always something very clear between us. We live in a world where many times a person's word doesn't mean much. The contract matters. The contract matters. It matters. But for me, my word matters even more. That's what lets me sleep in peace and makes my son proud of me. Rodrigo Caio with strong, firm words. I called the president to thank him. I called BAP and told him how grateful I am for opening Flamengo's doors to me again. He always showed pleasure and satisfaction in having me at the club, and that makes me very happy because of the history I built there, not just for the titles, but for the respect and dedication. He invited me to stay. He said the idea was to have a permanent staff at the club. I thanked him a lot from the bottom of my heart because it's a huge honor, but I explained that my word is my bond. I told the president that I couldn't stay because that goes against my principles. I said I would leave together with Felipe. For me, that's non-negotiable. His words were that the doors would always be open. I'm happy because it's a club I love. So Rodrigo Caio saying, who knows, maybe one day I can come back. At that moment, he went with Felipe. If someday they're working separately, he might come back. I realized that he also chose to leave because he's a man of his word. That's the most important thing. Being a man of your word is extremely important to me. Look, and there are people out there who won't stop talking about Flamengo. These guys can't hide their hatred for Flamengo. That's unbelievable, man. The guy must be traumatized from his time at Vasco and all that. The director of Atlético Mineiro, who was at Vasco before, Paulo Brax, criticized the excessive pressure on coaches in Brazilian football and commented on Felipe Luiz's departure from Flamengo. Look, the pressure, I also think that at certain times it goes too far, but the fan has the right to criticize. He has the right to demand results. Now, he wants to complain about Flamengo, but everyone is firing people. He only wants to complain about Flamengo. Let's see here. According to him, football is a meat grinder. That's true. And the situation is getting worse. Brax admitted that Atlético Mineiro also went through several coaching changes in recent years, like Scolari, Milito, Cuca, Sampaoli, and Dominguez. Dominguez, né? When mentioning Flamengo, he said that Felipe Luiz's dismissal was disrespectful, even after the club won the Brasileiro and Libertadores. I don't like to mention other clubs. The Brazilian Libertadores champion fired their coach in a very disrespectful way, by the way. I don't like to mention it, but you've already said it's Flamengo. The Brazilian Libertadores champion is Flamengo. You don't need to mention it, really. How do you think you're talking about it without mentioning it? Oh, for God's sake, right? You're kidding me, right, man? The guy goes and says the Brazilian Libertadores champion. Who is the Brazilian Libertadores champion? It's Flamengo, man. If you want to criticize, do it, but stop dodging. I won't mention it. You mentioned it. Mentioned it. Now, honestly, I think coaches need to have more time to work. One of the things I valued most is that Flamengo was giving Felipe Luiz time. It's that Felipe Luiz was having time to work. And there comes a moment when the management chose to fire him and to hire a coach who might be able to fix some things that had been happening. And honestly, man, when Felipe Luiz was fired, I was surprised. And I thought they could have given him a little more time, but that's what they decided. The team is doing well now. It might have been the right decision, even with all the craziness and the surprise everyone felt. It might have been the right call. He already arrived and won the Carioca Championship. Do you think Flamengo, facing difficulties then, would have won the Carioca Championship or be doing this well in the Brazilian League now? We can't know. What if is just what if. But now, I just wanted to mention this because the guy criticizes Flamengo when Atletico itself changes coaches a lot. São Paulo just changed now. Cruzeiro just changed now. Then the guy comes and says Flamengo was disrespectful. For God's sake, man. Talking bad about Flamengo is trendy. Talking bad about Flamengo is really trendy. It's trendy. You know why? Because of this, Flamengo remains the leader among Brazilian fan bases with over 21%. According to the TMC portal, Flamengo is the club with the most fans in Brazil. According to the survey with, check this out, the YouGov survey. With 48.8 thousand people in 2026, they conducted this survey with almost 50,000 people. Corinthians comes in second with 15%. That's a small difference, 21 to 15. I think this survey is kind of off, followed by Sao Paulo, 10%, and Palmeiras, 9%. Man, as far as I knew, look, we can joke, mess around, talk about rivals, say they're runners up and all that, but Vasco has more fans than Palmeiras, man. Despite everything they endure, those guys have more fans than Palmeiras? That can't be. Vasco, 6%. That's wrong, huh? Grêmio, 5%. Fluminense, Botafogo, Internacional, Bahia, and Cruzeiro, all with 4%. Santos, Atlético Mineiro, Fortaleza, 3% each sport. Ceará, Juventude, Bragantino, Mirassol, Atlético Goianiense, 1% each. I'll tell you what, guys. I always believed Atlético Mineiro had more fans than Cruzeiro. I don't know. I'm saying this without bias, okay? And then they also mention here that the leadership is reflected in the squad valued at 190 million euros by CIS, second only to Palmeiras. They keep saying that. Flamengo's squad is second only to Palmeiras. That's the study they do. People in Sao Paulo love doing these surveys and crazy stuff. Palmeiras' squad is more expensive than Flamengo's. So I'll say this. There isn't a single player called up to the Brazilian national team. I told you that yesterday. There isn't a player called up to the national team, but it's much more expensive. How come? Explain it to me. That's wrong. But let them think their squad is more expensive. It's not a problem. Look, we have some important information to share with you. Bruno Henrique is still out of the match, according to Bruno Lemos, who works with Mauro Santana. He remains out for the next Thursday's game against Remo. The player still hasn't recovered. We also have other information to share with you here regarding Bruno Henrique. On Placa, Raiza Simplicio said she's anxious to see Bruno Henrique playing in Leonardo Jardim's system, which really values what the forward does best, just like this system is also helping Samuel Lino shine. So Reza is eager to see Bruno Henrique playing with this system there in the 4-4-2, where the left winger moves inside and finishes. That's exactly what Bruno Henrique did with Jorge Jesus and during other times at Flamengo. So Raiza Simplicio also brought information regarding Bruno Henrique. About the player not accepting, he made a decision regarding the renewal with Flamengo until 2027. We mentioned that Flamengo will meet with him to offer a one-year renewal for one season. And Raiza Simplicio, Flamengo is evaluating. We brought this news. But according to Raiza Simplicio, it's unlikely that the forward will accept a significant reduction in his salary. Although the journalist believes that the parties could reach an agreement, the player no longer has one of the highest salaries on the team, meaning he won't accept a pay cut just to sign for another year. He might even accept a small reduction, but a significant cut like Flamengo wants, he probably won't. Flamengo is going to offer him another year on his contract, but they want to significantly reduce the player's salary, understanding that he probably won't be used as much in this final year. He probably won't be used much this year either, unless Jardim manages, with this system he has, to get things going again. For Bruno Henrique, for the year 2027, there's this expectation that he might play less. Flamengo wanted to significantly reduce the player's salary, and Raiza said it's unlikely that the forward will accept such a drastic cut. Yeah, he put on the table the possibility of retiring in 2026, according to some outlets, but his agent claims that's not true, that at no point did he consider retiring. He's 35 years old, has been at Flamengo since 2017, and has won 18 titles with Mengao. Just like Arrascaeta, he's the big idol of this generation, and he definitely wants to keep going. But the drastic reduction shouldn't happen, so what do you think? Should Flamengo stick to not paying too much, try to lower Bruno Henrique's salary in this last year? It would be interesting for us to talk about this, comment, and read your comments. Honestly, I would like to see Bruno Henrique at Flamengo for at least one more season. Who knows? Maybe this season he'll stand out with Leonardo Jardim and we can have our Bruno Henrique, who, just like Arrascaeta, is already an idol at Flamengo. Tell me, we need to talk about the main person responsible for the new phase that Flamengo is going through. Oh, it's Leonardo Jardim who arrived and all, but man, the one who steps onto the field is the player, right? We need to talk about Jorginho. Who noticed the big turning point? Besides, obviously, right? Team changes and things with Jardim. Man, Jorginho, since he came in, Flamengo and Fluminense, Flamengo started to improve. It's impressive, man, how important it is for Flamengo today to have Jorginho on the field. This guy is a beast, right? Jorginho, he crushes it, man. He crushes it. How he makes the difference, right? Jorginho, the quality, the experience, the leadership, it's impressive. And the most interesting thing is Jorginho, man, now as captain. I have no doubt that as soon as Jorginho came back to the team got back on track. I have no doubt that it has to do with that, okay? I would even like your opinion, but I have no doubt that above all, he's a guy, he's tireless. Man, I'm going to tell you something. He rarely gets injured. He even got injured last year. He started this year getting back in shape, but I'm going to tell you guys, he's a guy who, despite his age, is tireless on the field. He plays really well. He makes accurate passes. Man, for Flamengo, he took all the penalties, converted all the penalties, super decisive with the little hop, right? And now, as captain, look, I wouldn't take that armband off Jorginho, no way. I wouldn't take that armband off Jorginho, no. But if Arrascaeta comes back, the armband has to go to him. Look, I wouldn't take the armband off. Man, I don't know about you guys, but I think the leadership profile is different. Arrascaeta is the star. He's the genius player. He's the player who makes things happen. He's the player who has that genius, like I said. Jorginho, I think, has the leadership profile. That's exactly the profile of a captain. I'd like your opinion. I wouldn't take the armband off Jorginho, no. Since Jorginho came back, things started getting back on track again. And then we know that's the way. The path to victories, to titles in 2026. Guys, look, about some situations still involving the decision to give the captain's armband to Jorginho. I found here, it's important for us to mention, articles from Coluna do Fla and GE explaining that Jorginho doesn't have many public appearances. The player speaks up whenever necessary, and during this time as well, number 21 has a role that's more focused internally within the Flamengo group. It's also important to highlight that Jorginho is always one of the first players to arrive at Ninho, and also one of the last to leave. According to GE, even on the squad's days off, the midfielder has already been seen at Flamengo's training center doing activities. Look how cool it is, man, to have a guy like Jorginho, 34 years old at the peak of his game at 34, an experienced defensive midfielder who has the habit of talking to the players. Younger players in Flamengo's daily routine. In this way, the directors consider Jorginho a positive influence for several players. Despite taking care of the younger players, Jorginho uses his experience and the affection of his teammates to act in more delicate moments at Flamengo. In the controversy involving Felipe Luiz's public statements about Pedro, it was the midfielder who supported and advised the number 9 in his quest to bounce back. Look at these impressive details that have been revealed about Jorginho. And about the captain issue and all, whether he cut in line, the article says the following: no, not really, even though he wore the armband for the first time on Saturday. The 14th Jorginho did not cut in line in the red and black hierarchy. That's because since 2025, Arrascaeta has taken on the armband, which is shared with Bruno Henrique, Alexandre, and Leo Pereira after Gerson left. I don't know if Jardim will keep the captain's armband with him, but the captain's armband looked really good on our Italo-Brazilian. That's it. I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe down below, turn on notifications, hit the bell, leave a like, send an invite, and red and black greetings. This is Flamengo. Thank you.